Okay, so here we are. We file opened our image and we are making sure the background image is unlocked. You unlock it by double clicking. You'll see that little lock box go away. Then you are going to check the image size, and be sure that the document size is around 18 by 24, 11 by 14 would be the smallest, but you don't want it much bigger than 18 by 24. So hit OK. Now we're going to set the foreground color, and we are going to type in 7E, 7E, 7E. Here's the gray, that's what we want. Hit OK. Next, we are going to click on the rectangular shape tool, which is right here. And now I am going to make a perfect square by holding the Shift key down as I drag out the square. Always let your finger off the trackpad and then the Shift key last. So now you see I have a perfect gray square. So now I'm going to Command J, and that just duplicated the layer. So now I have two layers. So now we need to change the bottom square to white, make sure it's highlighted, and just simply double click on that, bring it to white, and hit OK. So now that bottom square is white. Now we need to transform the white square to make it bigger than the gray square. So now we are going to Command T, and we are going to drag out that white square. So you can kind of play around with it so that you want the borders around the gray square to be even on three sides and a little bit bigger on the bottom. So you can just play around with dragging these out and moving this white square a little until it is where you want it. Okay, so that looks good. Always remember when you're in the Command T mode, the edit mode, you need to click out of it by simply hitting return or clicking the default tool, which is the arrow tool. Next, we are going to command click on this little gray tool to select the gray box. So command click, and notice there is the highlighted gray square. Now we need to click on the picture layer, and we need to select the polygonal lasso tool, and then we are going to control click and click layer via copy. And now we have our image, and we move it above, and then you can see there is our first Polaroid. I would recommend that you rename each Polaroid, each one, because you're going to have at least 7 and you might get confused. So it's good if you label them the 3 layers as picture one so that you know which ones are which. We need to go back, always go back to the default tool. To move this around, I want to highlight all the layers, and by doing that, I hit Shift. And now they are all highlighted, and then I can move this square, this Polaroid. Okay, so going back to the layers palette, now I just need to select these two and Command J, and notice now I have another set. So I can move those out, go to another area, and I can go back here. Remember to click this and Command click on the gray square to highlight that. And then we get the polygonal lasso tool and we control click, layer via copy, and here is your next picture. So I want to organize these. So there's the 3 for picture 1. I'm going to rename these picture 2. So I can keep them organized. So now you repeat that until you have your 7 Polaroids. You can see I'm not quite done. I have 5 and many layers here. So now what I want to show you is how to make her hand coming out of the Polaroid, overlapping it on the outside, and her hair. Okay, so watch carefully. You are going to take the quick selection tool, which is here. Quick selection tool. Make sure for the options it's a plus. So I need to make sure my picture layer is highlighted, and I am going to zoom in and I'm going to select this part of her arm. So here we go. And you just keep pulling it out. Okay. And you can select even a little bit more of her hand. Okay, perfect. So now what I want to do is I'm going to Command C, which is cut. I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to Command V to paste that in there. Now we need to drag it way up. So we dragged it all the way to the top, and now you can see it's overlapping. To get this to look a little more natural, I'm going to make sure this Polaroid overlaps this arm. So going back to find a layer quickly, just hover over where you would like to select and then Command click. So command click, it goes right to that Polaroid. So I want to bring this Polaroid above. So we're going to select, highlight the white and the gray. Whoops. Hit Shift. And okay, so now we want to bring it up. Now I'm gonna do the same thing with her hair. I'm gonna have it go outside of the Polaroid. So I want to be sure I'm on the picture layer and then get the quick selection tool. And then I'm going to select her hair. Okay, now notice that it went way over where I want to select. So I can go up here and get the minus selection tool and just click. I'm pretty happy with that. We can go back and make this look a little more natural after we select it. So go back to your default tool and Command C, copy, new layer, important, Command V, paste. So now we can drag this way above everything. We got to go back to the hair layer. So again, if you hover over what you want to select, Command click, and just to make sure it's the right layer, there it is. And this should be all the way. We want this up here. Okay, so it's a top layer. Again, double check. Okay, so now we need to clean this up. So the best way to do that is go to the quick mask mode. Be sure that black is in the front. Remember, if you hit, just simply click D and it will go to black and white. It stands for default. And then toggle back and forth with the X. But you do want the black on top, which it is. Go to the brush tool, and you want a pretty decent sized brush. Do make sure it's a soft edge brush, oops, which is one of these. Okay, then you can come over here. And to make the brush bigger or smaller, you simply click the open and close brackets on your keyboard. When I do this, I'm going to zoom way in so I can really see what I'm doing. Okay, so now I'm simply going to take this, and don't be alarmed at the red. This just helps us with our selection. And get rid of all that. And now I'm probably going to make the brush smaller so I can really get to these little edges here. And even maybe in here a little bit. Okay, so we'll see what that looks like. So come back here, click out of quick mask mode, and notice it made a selection for me. So now I am going to, you have to inverse the selection, select, inverse, and now I can simply Command X for cut. Pretty cool. So zoom out. I do still need to clean up this little piece here to make it more, a little more convincing, but that is your basic idea. So have fun. So as I said, it looked a little bit odd right in here, and that's because the picture is not lined up. So you simply Command click on the layer, which I did. I highlighted the whole Polaroid, so now I can move it so that it looks a little more convincing. Do a little bit more erasing. So go over to the eraser tool. Be sure you're on the right layer, and that would be the hair. So now I can just simply go in and erase that. And if I zoom in a bit, I can make this a little bit bigger and maybe just soften some of these edges up. Okay, so it looks a lot more convincing now.